Well, I don't think I'll be wearing this again anytime soon. Hey all you Hillmaniacs, it's Hillmanator. Today I thought I'd talk about finding a church when you first move up to uni. Now the advice will probably apply to just about anyone moving anywhere, but there are going to be some tips that are specifically university focused. I'm going to assume, just for the sake of simplicity, that you've already chosen your firm and your insurance university. For me, that was Lancaster as my firm and Cardiff as my insurance. Now, I already knew all of the churches in Cardiff because I lived locally, but the advice will still apply for insurance unis. What's the first thing you can do? Well, I mean, besides praying, it's only the most important part of the process. Okay, but in terms of other practical steps that you can make, well, have you actually talked about it with your church leaders? They often gather together at conferences, so it's highly likely that your leader will know a leader from up in that sort of area of where you're moving to. Also, I found that pastors are generally relatively well travelled, so it's likely that they'll have been up to a church in that area themselves. On top of this, your pastoral team will know which members of the church have spent any time in that sort of area, either from work or living there previously, and so they can point you to those people who can tell you about the churches in that area. Okay, so you've talked with your church leaders, what next? Well, I have a question for you. Are you going to any sort of church run events? Things like New Day, Soul Survivor, Catalyst, Devoted, or, of course, the old classic, Spring Harvest. Well, if you are, I mean, it's a great opportunity to meet new people. And no, I'm not suggesting that you run around like a madman just asking everyone where they're from until you eventually run into someone who's from that area. That wouldn't go well. What I am suggesting is going and talking to either a zone host or a steward or someone in a position of power and asking if there would be a way of finding out whether there were any churches from that area. I remember at New Day 2018 I did this exact thing and I found a couple of churches from up in Lancaster, including the one I'm going to now. When you find out that they are on there, you need to find their site and go up to someone who looks like a leader. You can explain to them the whole moving into the area, uni part of it then if you have a bit of a chat, it'll give you a gauge for what their church is like, and it'll just give you a general feel of that church. It'll also allow you to put a face to the name of the church. It might be a good idea while you're there to also get the leader's social media details, because if you can get those, you can arrange lifts during your first couple of weeks, which is very useful. You don't want to have to pay for the bus every time you go to church, am I right? I'd also recommend Googling the churches in the area and having a look at their websites. See if they've got any meetings uploaded, and if they do, give them a gander. I mean, it'll give you a sense of the sort of church that it is. Even if there aren't any meetings uploaded, it's still worthwhile to check their website because it allows you to find out what they support, what their history is, and what they do in the community. Also, you'll need the info when you're trying to find the meetings, because you don't know this area, so take all the free help you can get. Then comes Freshers Week. Now, in this week, you're going to want to get in contact with your Christian Union at your university. They'll likely run a sort of church finding event over the coming weeks, and it's also a great way to find fellow believers and ask them just where they're going. It may be worth trying to find someone from the same sort of church background as you, but a year or two older, because they'll know the sort of churches that are similar or different and can advise you on that. And of course, the final step, visit the church. It's the only way you can know whether the church is right for you or not. And it will really allow you to make the most out of all of those student lunches. Trust me, you're going to want to get as many as you can at the start of the year. Okay, thanks for watching all. I shall catch you next time.